Well, my lumber storage is out of control, so today's project is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to get organized and weld up a lumber rack. So what I came up with is a rack that has a maximum of 6-inch spacing between the shelves. This way I'll never have to dig more than a few boards down to get the one that I'm after. I'm building the rack out of 1-inch square tubing. Since I'm primarily a woodworker, my metalworking tools are limited. So to cut the tubing, I'm setting up a jig complete with a stop to hold the steel and make repeatable, accurate cuts without having to measure each piece. I started out cutting the vertical supports. Once one was cut, I just slid the steel down to the stop and cut the next one. Then I reset the jig to cut all of the shelf supports. As long as I rode the edge of the plywood, I'd get a square, accurate cut every time. And now I was on to assembly and another jig. I cut a bunch of 6-inch spacers to help space out the shelves evenly. With my spacers cut, I screwed them down to the table between each shelf, creating a quick and easy way to keep all the parts aligned. I clamped on a couple of support blocks to rest the vertical supports on while I got all the shelves lined up and in place. I used a clamp to help keep the shelf in plane with the vertical support while I tack welded it in place. I then alternated welding the top pieces, then the bottom pieces, allowing more time for the tops and bottoms to cool to prevent heat from building up, bending the vertical support as it cooled. Now that I had everything welded up, it was time to do the hard work and move all that lumber. I was hoping to get the rack finished before the wood for my next project was delivered, but as luck would have it, here they are. What you gonna do? I got them unloaded and got back to work installing the lumber rack. I started out by screwing a ledger board to the wall to act as a third hand, allowing me to rest the steel racks on it while I bolted them to the wall. My shop was built using insulated panels instead of traditional stick framing. The insulated panels are great for insulating the shop, but even better for hanging things on the wall. Each foam panel is skinned with OSB, then drywall, so you can hang anything, any place. So for my rack, I spaced them out about 2 feet apart, which seemed like plenty of support for an 8-foot board. Now it's been a few months since I finished the rack, and everything seems to be staying nicely organized. Even better yet, my welds are holding and it hasn't fallen off the wall crushing me to death.